She is currently the alternative response to crisis program manager, which I was a part of, just retired of the city of Cincinnati. Growing the response arsenal for 911 calls to meet the needs of the public and utilize more effective means that consider the whole person. She also serves as an adjunct professor at the University of Cincinnati, mainly assisting in clinical mental health master's program. On the side, Stephanie maintains a counseling practice, which is called KELP, where she specializes in anxiety presenting concerns, strongly utilizing a trauma informed lens and bringing in an eclectic approach that creates space for clients to deliver their genuine selves. So at this time, I'll step out of the way and I'll give this mic to Dr. Stephanie Merrilees. Let us all give her a hand.
I know it's the worst. I know. I'm sorry. Uh, Thank you, Ron. Like you was saying earlier, I joined this church about 3 years ago. So while the religious piece is incorporated in the presentation, I definitely want to hear from your voices and your experiences as well. So we're going to make this pretty collaborative. Matthias is one of my friends. So is Caden. So they're going to be hanging out with me up here. Yeah, we're going to have a good time today. Like he also said, I am a manager with the City of Cincinnati, and I oversee our ARC and community responder teams. So if my phone rings, it is a mild emergency, so I might have to answer it, but hopefully not. Okay, so our plans for today, I'll give you some quick facts about mental health. The goal with this presentation is to have this kind of overview of things to look for, ways to move forward if you're noticing things. If you have more specific questions, I'm happy to talk to you after. I'll provide contact information, and I'd be able to help you with more specific questions or things to navigate because the mental health system is tricky. But we'll talk about some quick facts, and then we'll go over some risk factors. That's when we'll move into an activity at your tables, and that's why there's paper in the middle. If you get food or anything else on the paper, that's totally fine. It's just to take notes. Then we'll talk about specific mental health concerns, and we'll have a group discussion during that as well. And then some neurological conditions and some of the memory concerns, some of those symptoms that we notice as well. Okay, so when we look at mental health, just in the general population, 1 in 5 people in their lifetime are going to experience a mental health disorder. So that's pretty common. And a big piece about mental health is that it doesn't have to be a chronic condition. I think people get really concerned to seek help because they're concerned about a diagnosis that might carry with them. So if you're experiencing depression, that's exactly what that is. You're experiencing it at that time. Those are the symptoms that are relevant for you, but that doesn't mean that you are now a depressed person. It's not something you necessarily go through forever. For some people, that does reign more true and it is more chronic. But a lot of people, mental health is it's part of our health. So we're all going to experience ups and downs and different symptoms. When we're looking at older adults, 15% of adults aged 50 plus live with a mental health disorder. So again, that's something that might be more chronic, something they deal with every day. But I would say transitioning into older adulthood, going into retirement, these different phases of life, you're going to experience mental health challenges because it's hard. It's a transition. So although 15% is maybe something diagnosable or something chronic, everybody is going to experience those different changes. A big concern we have with 70 plus is the concern of suicide. 16.6% of deaths from suicide are from 70 plus individuals. And that's a pretty high percentage when we're looking at the breakdown of population. So we really want to be aware and make sure people aren't experiencing isolation, they're not suffering alone, they know who to turn to, because again, that's a hard time in life and we don't want people to feel not seen. Um, I don't like this statistic. 2/3 of adults who are experiencing mental health disorders in older life are not receiving the care they need. So maybe they're even reaching out for help and they're not getting the help that they need, the assistance. So that's why we have all these partners here today. If they're not the right resource, they can get you pointed to the right resource, because we don't want people to not be receiving help if it's out there. And we want you to be receiving the right help as well. And the most common mental health disorders experienced in older adulthood are depression and anxiety. So that's the main focus we'll be looking at today, because that's super common. Situations can be anxiety producing, situations can be depressing. So we'll focus on that. But again, if you have larger concerns, concerns with more chronic conditions, more serious conditions, yeah, talk to me. We'll figure something out. I teach at UC. I don't mind noise. It's fine. I teach college kids. So some of the risk factors that we're looking at, when people are experiencing adversity, when they've limited resources, poor living conditions, that's a big one for mental health. And that is not just for older adults. Anybody who is experiencing poverty, who has poor living conditions, that's obviously going to impact your mental health because you're not getting your basic needs met in the way that would be most ideal for you. And that, again, is a concern because sometimes people are hitting retirement and they don't have everything set up. And the government is not great right now. So people aren't necessarily receiving the services they need. So it becomes really relevant when we're hitting older adulthood and you're saying, hey, I can't do this. I would like to work. I can't work. I would like to get this help. I can't. So we really want to be aware of that and how that's impacting your mental well-being. Neurological conditions obviously are going to impact mental health. It's really hard to not be as sharp as you used to be, to realize you're forgetting something, to just not be the same person that you knew. That can be really challenging as well. So not only do we want to manage the neurological condition, but we also want to be looking at, okay, how's that impacting my well-being, my day-to-day? Poor physical health is always going to have an impact on mental health. Again, kind of the same reasons as if you're not getting the resources you need. If your body can't move, if you're in pain, that's going to impact your mental health. And certain medications can also do that. So as we get older, our bodies need more medicine. I'm pretty young and my body needs medicines. And we don't always love the side effects that they have. So we have to be aware of if those are impacting our well being too. Substance use problems. Again, this is not specific to older adults, but if we're using substances in an unhealthy way, in a way that's too much, that's starting to impact our lives, that's also going to impact our mental health. And if we don't have access to quality support or services. So again, you might be receiving services. You might be going to a professional. They might not be the correct professional. You might not be getting the help that you want. Finding a counselor or a therapist is hard. Finding a good fit, finding someone that understands you, that hears you. So that's the key part there is quality support and services, because just because you are receiving help doesn't mean it's the right help. So all of these impact our mental well-being. Then we also have, we've got bereavement. So again, unfortunately, as we age, we will lose more people in our lives. I've got that one bolded, and retirement, because this is what we're going to do our activity with, because everyone's going to face it at some point. Caring for a loved one and caregiver stress is extremely real. So it's hard enough to say, okay, I'm starting to decline. This is impacting me. but seeing a loved one starting to decline, and maybe they don't realize it, maybe they're resisting help, maybe you're responsible for them, that is very, very hard because you're also experiencing they're not the same person I knew in that grieving process for yourself. So, caregiver stress, to be very, very aware of that. Retirement, this can come with a reduced sense of purpose. Like Ron said, I used to ride with him and we talked a lot about his plans and everything he's got going on before he moved into that. I've been told we are both busybodies, so we're not concerned about him. He's doing fine. But it's hard. It's another transition. You have to have lots of plans and you have to really be intentional about what that looks like. Social isolation and loneliness. This is a concern for all ages, but it gets harder when you are aging. If you have limited transportation, that's hard to see people. If you don't love technology, I don't like to FaceTime. Lots of people love FaceTiming. That's challenging. That's going to be a barrier for you. And there's just, if you're losing people, maybe you're feeling more disconnected. Maybe other people are no longer reaching out to you. So we really want to pay attention to that isolation and make sure people are being seen and supported. And then the last one is abuse of any kind and neglect. I'm pretty sure when you go to the doctor, that's something they ask you about as you start to age. Like, are you feeling safe at home? And everyone's like, we know what you're asking. I'm fine. But if you are not fine, there are lots of services for you because we don't want people going through that, especially in an older age where you're a vulnerable population. So, because everybody either has gone or is going through retirement and either has had to grieve someone or will have to, at our tables, there's big paper, there should be a marker somewhere. I'd like to hear from you all. You can answer any or all of the questions. So, how are you or how did you prepare for retirement? What challenges are you anticipating or have you faced in retirement? How have you coped with losing loved ones? And what has helped or hindered the grieving process? So, give you some time to eat your food, talk amongst each other, and then we'll share out in a little bit.
Does everyone have a marker at your table? Okay. So you want them to work together and just make a big sheet? Okay. So everyone just choose a captain of your table, a person to do the writing, and talk amongst yourselves and put together a list to share with each other because hey, I'm new to this retirement game. Some of you've been around for a while. Help me out. This is a help me out page. If you guys can just write down some things for Brother Ron as he steps into this new phase of life. I appreciate you. We're going to start with the program or continue with the program in about 2 minutes. So you have about 2 minutes if you're not finished, and we'll move forward. Make sure that you sign up on the sign up sheet out there out front. Make sure if you have an email, make sure you put your email address out there because this presentation will be shared with each one that have their email on that sheet out in the foyer. So if you haven't signed up yet, make sure on the way out that you sign up so that we'll have that information so that we can send this very important information with the addition of the things that you share with us as well, so it can be beneficial to not only you, but to other people that you might know that need this information. Thank you. It's about 1 minute. Yeah, I talked about a minute, didn't I? Yeah. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Y'all better hurry up. 4. Y'all know when y'all heard that countdown when y'all were kids, huh? You know what that meant, right? Y'all better hop to it. 3, 2, Dr. Marilees.
All right, so we're going to go around the tables and you can share your takeaways either about retirement planning or the grieving process. So we'll start.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. My name is Mitchell Hampton. I'm a member here at the Kennedy Heights Church of Christ, and I jotted down a few things about retirement and one or two about grieving. The thing I'd like to say about retirement when you retire, and I've been retired for 18 years. I worked for the city transit here in Cincinnati for 35 years. So I've been retired for 18 years. Also, I'd like to throw in, as I always do, I was president and business agent of the Transit Workers Union for 12 years. So I've been out there for a little while. And the thing I wrote down was, after you retire, is find something that you want to do and stay busy. You know, don't just sit in the house and look out the window or go on the patio and sit there all day. Uh, Stay in touch with your friends, your loved ones, your relatives. Uh, that's what I try to do now. And needless to say, I get on my brothers and sisters a lot of time about not communicating with each other, you know. So don't, another thing I wrote down is don't get overloaded. Don't let someone put a guilt trip on you because they want you to do something that they need done or want done. So you have to be mindful of that you can't let people put what maybe they should be doing themselves over on you. And I already stated, stay in touch with old friends. And last but not least, if you need professional help, get it. Don't be ashamed or too embarrassed or too bullheaded not to get it. So if you need it, if you need professional help, get it. There's no harm in that, you know. So, And another thing is, don't forget to, to stay spiritual. That was the last thing I wrote down, was staying spiritual. So that's all I have to say.
Hi, I am Winona Hampton. I am a member here at Kennedy Heights Church of Christ. What I wanted to talk about was depression. A lot of people suffer from different depressions, and it can be chemically, sometimes due to medication, it can cause you depression. And the best way to handle that, or any type of depression, is to try to change your mood. Try to, maybe even you have to kind of get out and take a walk. Something physical will help. But most of all, something spiritual. Read your Bible. Maybe have a prayer partner that you could call, that you could pray with. There's many ways that you can counteract depression, because that's something that we're taught about that from the Word of God, that God did not give us the spirit of fear, nor of depression, nor of defeat. So we have to kind of counteract that with prayer, meditation, and just getting out and walking and changing your environment and speaking to somebody else who's spiritual will help lift you. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
All right, we'll move on to the next table, but I think you have a great point about setting those boundaries. So people, I've heard the phone calls before that say, well, you're retired. You can help with this. You've got time, but that's your time. You've earned that time. So set your boundaries and be firm in what you want to do. And you're jumping ahead with the depression piece, but that was great advice anyway. Yeah, definitely turn to the spiritual side and look to God for guidance, because he knows what you're going through, and he's not letting you be alone during that. Who wants to speak at this table? No one.
They do this every time. They always put me up to this stuff. But on our paper, we wrote the word retirement and plan. And we also wrote changes, because these things will come in time. And although we have plans that we make, but what we learn as brothers and sisters in Christ, God has a plan. So me personally, what I've learned is when I wake up, I say, thank you for this day. Give me this day. Let me accomplish the things I need to do this day, because tomorrow is not promised. All these plans, and me personally, retirement, it's not all but it's cracked up to me, y'all. Because the plan was to travel. It ain't happening. You need money to do all these things. So each and every day that I wake up, you thank God for that day and let Him lead the way. That's what we came up with.
So what we wrote on our list was to stay busy, because you're not on the clock anymore, but you still need to stay busy, whether it's dealing with grief or dealing with retirement. Nicely decide when to say no. Put yourself on a budget. Make yourself happy. It's good to go to church. Having a support system so you can lean on one another. Make sure your house is paid off. Make sure you still feel valued and have a purpose. And I also wrote on here because she told me it was okay to share it. But Sister Sparks, she's 90 years old and she actually has a therapist. And she's had a therapist for several years. And it's okay to have Jesus and a therapist. Yes, so that's it.
No, you're totally fine. We're balancing lots of hats. Well, they gave us a good checklist, so check by check there. But I liked what you said. Like, yes, we turn to prayer, we turn to God, and we also might need a therapist, and that's okay. And there's some links later on that I'll share. And if you're looking for a counselor or therapist, you can check and say, I would like someone who is Christian, and try to find somebody who aligns with that faith as well. We'll move to this table. You've got a microphone? Perfect. Absolutely. Great.
A lot of times when we grew up, we were conditioned to not to tell people about our stuff.
Yep.
Don't say anything. And most people, when they think about therapists, they think about Caucasian.
Yep.
But and we already have this ingrained of us, and no offense, but we don't tell white people nothing.
Yep.
That's the way we were raised. But all therapists are not Caucasian. There are a lot of Black. Sister Sparks' therapist is a Christian, and she's a woman, and she's older, and so it's a very nice fit for her. The therapist that she has is a very nice fit, and they get along very well. So we have to start thinking differently about reaching out to people, and a lot of us have been through trauma, and we push it down and keep going, but eventually it's coming back up. And I have people tell me all the time, I didn't think nothing was wrong with me. Well, guess what? There's something wrong with all of us. That's period. The question is what's going on. So we have to not be afraid or ashamed to go get help if we need help.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I very much recognize I am a white lady talking about mental health. But you find who fits for you. And that's, if you don't like the provider you find, look for a new one. If they don't match different aspects that are important to you, you can find another one. So keep trying. Don't get too discouraged. And it's okay to talk to people about things. Over to this table.
Can anybody hear me? Hello? Yeah, you can hear me. Okay. First thing, when my wife's dad was dying of cancer, probably 20 years ago now, well, they chopped out a lung and they says, oh, everything's okay. About 18 months later, oh, it's not okay, and he's not going to make it. Well, she became very depressed and somewhat suicidal, and I'd been reading Minirth Meyer, their Christian psychologist. It's a very good book, which helped me. And I was listening to Dobson, used to be there. He's a psychologist as well. And so I recognized that, hey, I better do something. And then I checked with my aunt, and I found out that I had a cousin who was a psychiatrist here in Cincinnati that I didn't know about. And his great-grandmother and my grandfather were brothers and sisters. Okay. So anyway, so I contacted him, and first she had to agree to it because, she hadn't exhibited anything other than to me how depressed she was. And so then she agreed to go to him, which that helped her a great deal. And, it's helped her through the crisis. And she's still alive today. Now she's taking care of her 102-year-old mother, who's going to be 103. She's a retired nurse. So, and she's around for our grandkids, our great-grandkids. And for that, I'm very grateful that she got somebody to help her deal with this very traumatic time for her. What she saw was her mother never drove or did anything because her dad was the man of the family. Okay. So anyway, he couldn't do it with chemo and all that other stuff. Her mother, we'd gotten her a driver's license way back when she never used. Well, she had to drive him to chemo and everything else. And then my wife started thinking, well, I don't know if I can make it on my own, because typically in America, the guys die first, because just because maybe we're so macho, we get hit by a bus or something. I don't know. But anyway, so anyways, that's sort of got her depression going. So that's one case. I'm just going to throw out some ideas I've used for retirement. And actually what helped me get through that too was Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. There's a lot of there's an audios of that online. I used to listen to and wait for my great granddaughter to get off the bus, and and it's got a lot of good scriptures too. He was, as a Christian psychiatrist or psychologist. I think he was a psychologist, I believe. And okay, that's the one thing. Things I've done to keep busy besides chasing grandkids, being a chauffeur for grandkids. I'm going to take some great grandkids to Vacation Bible School at Withamsville Church of Christ in June, if you want to sign up for that. And they're adopted. So my one grandson, his partner, adopted them. And their mother was a drug addict, and we don't know if she's alive. The father of two of them we know is dead. And two of them are ADHD. And I've told a lady who I've known since she's a kid, I was asking, I says, well, two of them are ADHD. I says, on their meds are okay. So anyway, I've talked to my grandson, his partner, and they says, yeah. So I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to take them to church. I'm going to stay there because I know the kids, and they're good kids, but kids are kids. And that way they got me as a backup if something goes screwy. But I mean, I don't mind. Then I'll take them out to eat to Dairy Queen or something like that, just as a treat. So I want them to enjoy it. Last year I hadn't watched them much, so I didn't think about taking them to Vacation Bible School. But I had watched them for like 3 or 4 months when my grandson needed me to pick him up from school, the great granddaughter at noon, and so I started doing that. Okay, here's some other things. I want to ask you, but most of you, I would assume, have graduated from high school, right? Okay, and some of you probably are professionals and have college degrees. I've used both. Well, I taught as an adjunct at UC Claremont, and then I've been a teacher's aide, is what my granddaughter's doing now. She's going to school to be an early childhood education teacher, which is an associate's degree through UC. So there's that thing. So if you're a high school graduate and you like kids, you might want to contact the school district because they're generally hurting for substitutes and for teachers' aides. And you make a little money if you like kids. Now, if you don't like kids, don't do the job. But if you like kids and you love kids, it's a good way to really do a good for your community and yourself psychologically, because kids, they love you. Okay, the other thing is I've done just recently, there's a thing called LibriVox, LibriVox. It's free audiobooks, and because my vision's getting bad, I'm using more and more audiobooks. And Libby's another application. Get loaded up on your cell phone, and you can listen to audiobooks, and that's another freebie. My wife introduced me to that one. What was the other thing? There's another one I'm trying to think of, can't think of right offhand, but there's a lot of stuff out there just to keep yourself busy. Besides, these senior groups are good for me. Now, I'm a type of guy, besides grandkids, I've worked. When COVID hit, I couldn't sub anymore, so then I worked for Amazon. Amazon, you might be able to get a part-time job with them if you want to make a little money. And the nice thing about this generation, we don't mind working. And Amazon is the first-time job for a lot of people, and you will have a chance to influence a lot of younger people who maybe that's their first-time job. So I did that for 4 years after COVID, and I just retired in 1994, August last before. I originally retired 2010, so, and I was grandpa daycare chauffeur until they didn't need me anymore. So there's all sorts of opportunities out there. There's some that you can make money at, and you don't have to work 40-hour week. Amazon has good benefits. They have part-time jobs, and you can always go in and talk to them, and if it don't work, no big deal. Okay, well, thank you, and thank you guys for having this, because I've learned a lot.
Yeah, I think there's lots of opportunities for part-time work if that's something you need or something you're interested in to make some money and, like you said, to get benefits. You'd also mentioned like you have to want to seek help. And that's a challenging part when we see people who need help and maybe they don't necessarily want it. With mental health, you don't have to have something big. We can use diagnosis codes like transitions and adjustment disorders and things like that. So don't be afraid your problem isn't big enough or it's not a disorder. You can get help if you're willing to. But turn over to you.
One of the things that's helpful when you retire, like he was saying, a part-time job, but
Okay, it should be on.
okay. One of the things that are helpful when you retire is to volunteer. There's a lot that we can give to others. So volunteering is very good to do. It keeps you alive. It keeps you connected, and I'd recommend it for anyone. And also, we have to budget our money a little differently when we retire. That was a challenge. And then keep in touch with your classmates. I have a classmate. We've known each other since we were 9 years old. She's in Birmingham, but we talk all the time and remember each other's birthday. And keep in touch with your church family. It's most important. And then you'll be okay.
Is it good? Okay, if you couldn't hear her great takeaways, she's mentioning volunteering because you have a lot of wisdom to offer, and staying in touch with your classmates and your church family, really leaning into those supports. Thank you. To this table, we'll try this again. Anyone want to speak? If you'd like to. We'll try this microphone.
Trying this one. Um, I wanna just make this, and I learned this. Every therapist is not for you. So I had a therapist, and I thought she should be paying me. You know. So I'm saying if you have get a therapist and it doesn't fit, try another one. Um, don't just, and I tried desperately just to stick there with her, and then I thought, well, the Friday's coming up, she ought to be writing me a check by now. So, but I just want to put that out there, that every therapist is not the right therapist for you. And then what else? And then we talked about the fact that, um well, losing a parent is very stressful, and people will look at you and say, you're doing real good. You see the outside of me. You don't know what's going on the inside of me. And that's what led me through to a therapist. Was the inside of me was hurting badly. I did have to retire, but it wasn't because I wanted to retire. My mother had to have a caregiver, and I had promised her years ago that she would not have to go to a nursing home. So I told her, I said, I promised you and I promised God that you wouldn't have to go. So I had to retire. But after she passed away, it was like, what I do now, because my time was taking care of her, but after she passed away, what do I do now? So don't just look at a person and think they're just all this peaches and cream. There's inward stuff that goes on that you don't know about. So then you go to that little jacked up therapist that won't pay you. Um, Miss Pryor knows me from we worked together 6 years, and I just can't keep it all straight. My face won't stay straight. So, but anyway, that's what my table forced me to say.
Well, we definitely appreciate that. I think a lot of times in grieving, there are so many logistics that people do have to push down all the feelings. So it's like, you look fine. I do look fine because I have to figure out all of this. So we do have to give space for people to process through that and actually feel those feelings. Um, yeah, I could talk about therapist stories for days. They are not all made the same. You want to speak? That's part of why I continue to adjunct, because I love teaching the new class of therapists and get them to be more open and understanding and receptive to feedback as well. Because if I have a client that doesn't like me, I don't want them to keep coming. I want to be helpful like that, but the space has to be there for somebody to give that feedback as well.
Thank you, Dr. Stephanie. Our table, I looked at this a little differently as the person who recorded. So I was looking at percentages. I'm a retired math teacher, so everything's a number to me. Okay, so about 75% of us at this table were prepared financially. 0% of us were prepared mentally. 100% of us had caregiving duties. One in particular was sandwiched with parents and children. Somebody said, oh wow, like, oh wow, yes. 25% needed rehab for surgery. 75% had to go through COVID and a change of work sites to home. 75% were dealing with bereavement when retirement. And my little anecdote is I retired on May 24th. My dad died on May 25th, and I never stopped. But the good news was I was able to come here and go to church. Prior to that, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Trevor Pryor, and I go to Kennedy Heights. But prior to that, I did not get to go to church and fellowship with people. I had to do it at home because my mother lived with me at home. So we did Zoom calls. 100% stayed, the ways to deal with being retired, 100% of us stayed busy and did self-talk and prayer. And then at the bottom, you can see all your wonderful ideas. We recorded those at the bottom. That's all the things you all said. So I'm gonna take a picture of this and put it in my phone. I really appreciate the more seasoned retirees and what they shared. Thank you.
We can leave it at the table. That's fine. Well, I like how you approached that. It was different from the other tables, but it's very interesting. And okay, yeah.
Not a question as much as a comment. This has been a powerful presentation. I've learned a lot. I just want to throw out this little gem. I'm a retired Cincinnati police officer, and well, I got some stories, but through the grace of God, I'm still here, and I tried to make an impact, do the job the right way. But we've talked about the importance of community, especially amongst our seniors, therapists. But I would encourage everyone to don't neglect reaching out to the young people. It's good to have your great nieces and granddaughters, or grandsons, great grandsons come to you, but you can go to them too. We have to embrace the younger culture. Now, I don't approve of rap music, but I know who Glorilla is, and I know who Megan Thee Stallion is, uh, Kendrick Lamar, and now the kids that I used to work with, they know who Marvin Gaye is. I've played some Temptations and Ray Charles, and it's an exchange of culture. Solomon said, nothing is new under the sun. Some of y'all grew up watching, what's her name? Ike and Tina Turner. Tina Turner, she was the it girl. Well, now it's Megan Thee Stallion. And these, what I'm saying is reach out and embrace these young people. I don't approve of the rap music. I tell them, hey, I like the beats, but could you clean up the language a little bit? And they are responsive. It's the holy word of God. Suffer the little children. What? Suffer the little children. And yeah, let them come into me. Yeah. Yeah. God likes the youth. We were once young. We can't be too critical of them for the mistakes they made. Life is a process. Relapse is a part of recovery. Relapse is a part of recovery. We've all had ups and downs. Life is not linear, but if you consistently reach out to these young people, and especially those in your family, I got a nephew going through some stuff. I make sure I keep in contact with him and encourage him daily. And I'm proud to say he has not had any more babies, and he's living better. Got a job now. Just reaching out. It's tough sometimes because you got to reach out with tough love. You may have to, like my grandmother said, boy, I'm gonna have to go upside your head. But but if you have to do that, do it. Reach out to the youth in your family. Reach out to the youth in your church, and I think that makes a difference with you growing and prospering in old age. Like the quote: "Those who are older should speak, for wisdom comes with age." Don't wait for them to come to you. You're the wise one. Take it to them.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
My name is Patricia Wade, and I wanted to say, when you get older, sometimes you forget to say thank you and be appreciative of what people are doing for you. And sometimes the young folks do things really nice for you, and you don't say thank you. That don't cost nothing. And that's what I try to do. I try to tell everybody that does something for me, thank you. You know.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so I believe on the schedule when you signed up, it said lunch was till 12:30. So if you would like to leave, I will be respectful of your time and your boundaries. So you're welcome to go, but we'll keep talking. We'll keep engaging in this. We're not respecting your time. So I put some tips on here. I think most of it was already shared by the group, but just in case we didn't have people who wanted to talk, put together some tips. And I will add to these slides with what people have shared today, and that's what we'll send out if you provide your email. So shifting over to more of the mental health piece, some symptoms to look out for with depression specifically, if there are noticeable changes in mood, energy, or appetite. So sometimes we may not notice this, but there's this physical kind of bleh people are feeling, and everything's exhausting. They just don't seem like themselves. They seem kind of down. So that's something we want to watch out for in other people. Sister Lynetta's really good about, she's the one who can say to me, how are you doing? And it'll just, everything will pour out. So we always want to check in with people, and people can tell when you're genuinely saying, how are you? And you want to hear, yeah. Okay, we have a ring that was in the bathroom. I'm going to pass this to Ron.
In the women's bathroom?
Yes. If you're missing a ring from the women's bathroom and you can describe it, Ron has it. It's a round ring. Goes on your finger. Some other symptoms we want to look out for is feeling flat or having trouble feeling positive emotions. So we don't always have to be happy. Everything isn't always perfect. But if we're really just not feeling much, if things that we usually would enjoy are not enjoyable anymore, that can be a sign that we might be experiencing some depression. And if we're not enjoying activities we usually enjoy. If we are having trouble sleeping or if we're sleeping too much, those are also, they can be signs of depression. Difficulty concentrating, feeling restless, feeling on edge. A lot of times I've had many people come into my office and they say, I have anger management issues. I need to manage my anger better. And it turns out they don't know all of their feelings. And so everything is coming out as anger and irritability, but maybe they're actually in pain. Maybe they are depressed. Maybe they're sad. Maybe they don't know how to express those things. So if we're noticing irritability, feeling on edge, anger, snapping at people, that might also be a sign of depression. If we're seeing a lot of worries, stress can lead to a lot of different mental concerns. But just that increased worry, again, aggressiveness, irritability, just if someone's not being themselves, we might want to check in on them, or if we notice that we're not being ourselves. Sadness or hopelessness is a pretty obvious one with depression. It's one we think of, but we want to keep checking in on people. So if somebody is depressed, they might keep turning you away. You might say, how are you? And they say, I don't want to talk to you. It's fine. Keep checking in on them because they might need that persistent person in their life. Because it can be hard to ask for help. It can be hard to accept help from friends, family, church, anyone, not even professionals. So somebody might say, I'm fine, don't worry about it. Keep checking in on them if they're experiencing these different symptoms, if you're noticing them. And if someone's expressing thoughts of death or suicide to you, definitely connect them with professional help. It's nothing to be scared of because if somebody's sharing that with you, that means they're at least telling you they need help. They're in a bad spot, but definitely connect them to crisis services. You can call 911. They'll send out mobile crisis usually and get that person help. So don't be scared. That means they're asking for help, but we definitely want to take that seriously. And some symptoms that might indicate anxiety. There's a lot of physical symptoms that can manifest that are actually anxiety, but we think that they're a physical concern. A lot of times, this can be GI issues and having stomach problems, digestive problems. I specialize in anxiety and trauma and making sense of all of that. And a lot of clients are like, oh, I have IBS. And a lot of times it ends up being pretty connected to the anxiety. Not all the time. We definitely want you to see your medical doctors as well. But a lot of times we can have these physical symptoms that are actually mental health concerns. If people are experiencing like a panic attack and they're having chest pains, again, we want to take it seriously if it hasn't happened before, and we might need to get them checked out by a hospital. But like, I get panic attacks sometimes, and I know what that is. I know I'm not having a heart attack. I know it's going to pass. But it's something to be aware of, and it's really scary if somebody's going through it for the first time. So if someone's expressing these concerns, we want to get them checked out medically, but also being aware it could be mental health. With anxiety, we might see excessive nervousness or fear. So if somebody's worrying more than you typically would over something, you might want to encourage them to get some help. or talk them through it, because we can usually help people with their concerns when they're feeling anxiety. If people are having obsessive thinking or compulsive behaviors, so obviously we want to check our houses before we leave. We don't want to leave the stove on. We don't want to do any of these things. But if someone's trying to leave and they've gone back and checked the stove 5 times, that might be more than normal. So we might want to seek some help then. And if just there's thoughts or behaviors that are interfering in your day-to-day life. So if you are anxious and you don't want to go to church anymore because you're scared to talk to people, you're scared they're going to judge you, that's not good, because now we're cutting ourselves out from our supports. We're not doing the things that would enrich us and help us. So anything that's really interfering in your day-to-day, we want to seek out some help for. These are a couple of good resources. Resource lists are hard because people have different preferences. You have different insurances. You live different places. There's so many things. So the 2 links on there are links that you can find providers through. So you can say the type of help you're getting, where you're located, what preferences you have, what insurance you have, and that could be a starting point. You can also call 211. 211 is really, really great with getting you connected to resources. And if we're experiencing some of these mental health symptoms, we might want to connect with 988. They're not necessarily going to make you get help. They're not going to necessarily send out help, but they could be someone to talk through what's going on in that moment and potentially connect you if you need more resources. Some other symptoms that aren't necessarily depression or anxiety that you want to be aware of. If you are seeing, hearing, or feeling things that other people do not see, hear, or feel, probably want to seek help. I think something we see a lot of times in older adults is UTIs that lead to a lot of mental health concerns. So a lot of these things overlap, and we want to make sure we're taking everything very seriously. So if somebody is confused, if they don't seem to be in the same present that we are in, we want to see what's going on and get them help. If anything seems concerning, if somebody's talking to you in a way that seems concerning, we want to get them help. And again, the substance use, if somebody is misusing alcohol or drugs, we definitely want to connect you with services. Okay, we're not going to write these down, but we'll just try to pass the mic around. If there are any ways that you have found successful in preventing depressive or anxiety symptoms or managing depressive or anxiety symptoms.
We talked about the importance of exercise. God gave us these bodies. Use them. Take a short walk. If you can't walk, take a short roll. Breathe deeply. Tai Chi. Tai Chi is very good. You can do it seated or standing.
Here on Saturdays, 10 a.m., Tai Chi class for everyone. Yeah, and it's non-impact. So take your time. Yeah, I think he's been to a class. All right.
Absolutely. Other people want to share.
Forgot what I was going to say. It's old age. Oops. I was trying to think of something that was going to, something that we use at our family was, first I said, we've taken multivitamins and I take B3 and my wife takes B3. A good multivitamin that I learned when I was working at Amazon, one of the guys who was mentoring me, was called Emergent C. It has multivitamins, it has B complex and electrolytes. So if you take something like that, it might cost you $15 for a couple of months, I think like 3 months or something might cost you $15-20. But that makes sure your chemicals are pretty well working. So that helps a lot. Another thing we do as a family, which I didn't even think of until now, is we have a family text group. And right now we're up to 16, and it's only people that are family. You know, you want to share. You know, you could share the skeletons in the closet with these people. Okay, so it's people that you trust, and they're not going to spread things all over. So if you can get a family text group going, it's a good way to get feedback from people, and it's a good way to share things you've learned. Like I'm going to share this with my family text group, and there's things like that that are is another way of reaching out using the technology. And I'm a geek, so I do it. And I also use. I know we live in a world that's got all sorts of fake news. I use Gemini AI, which you can get for free, and you can use that as a fact check on stuff. Now, it's not totally perfect, but if you see some stuff and hear some stuff, and you say, boy, that sounds weird, just run it past that and see if they say, well, yeah, I've seen a fake news judge trial. And I says, boy, I didn't hear about that. And I says, well, I better run that for Gemini. He says, no, that's just a fake news thing. And it's because it's AI, it tends to get all the stuff. Now, it's not perfect, but it's another way of fact checking all the rumors and garbage we get because our world is so connected. So these are just coping skills I use.
Yeah, I'm not going to name names, but someone in my life sends me a lot of AI videos that are not real. So she might need to use some of that fact checking.
Good afternoon. I am Norma Walker, and I found some important ways to eradicate or alleviate depression, and that is every day when you wake up, realize that this is the beginning of a new day. And to me, every day is the Lord's day, not just Sunday, because God has made every day for us. And when we wake up like that, and always remember to pray every day, and not only every day, but all throughout the day, because I find that with Christian people and with everybody, the enemy, the devil, is always busy. And like Jesus said in John 10 and 10, that the thief has come to steal, kill, and destroy, but he's come that we might have life and have it more abundantly. And so not only does he steal, he steals our hopes and our dreams and our aspirations and that all kinds of things, and gets in our way and wants to make us do things that we shouldn't do and say things that we shouldn't say. And we recognize that it's the enemy, then we will remember that we should always, like you said in Luke 18:1, always pray and not faint. Our heart is willing, but our flesh is weak. And pray lest we enter into temptation. I found that to be successful. And also, one of my little nephews, a member of this church, talked about singing. I think about some of the old songs that we used to sing years ago that come into my mind. And when I'm getting ready and getting dressed, it takes a long time to do it. I would just take my time and sing songs of Zion that are really, really helpful because they will inspire you, enlighten you, and help you to make it throughout the day. Just singing the God's gospel and his old hymns of Zion, and praying and singing and keeping connected to others. I find that having a network of friends. Some people say all my friends are gone, all my friends are dead. Well, I like all kinds of people. Got friends that are young and old and middle age and older than I and way younger than I. My little nephews said something one time several years ago. God is always with you. And a therapist came and said, that is neat. And he took a picture of it. He said, who wrote that? He said, somebody calls me Aunt Norma ever since he learned how to talk. So I think that may have gone viral with him taking a picture of that. And so just learning to listen to even the younger people, because you can learn things from a baby. You can learn different things to learn, and also keeping a network of friends, keeping a network of every kind of friend, not just old, not people your own age, but all kind of people, because God wants us to love one another as He's loved us. My brother taught me that. My brother talked about love one another, and it's hard to love people sometimes when they're unlovable. Hard to love people sometimes when they talk about you and hurt you and say hurtful things. And used to say sticks and stones that may break my bones, words don't hurt me, but yes, they do. Words are powerful, and if they were not powerful, God's words would not be, because in the beginning, God, who created heaven and earth, and His word was in the beginning. God spoke, and all things happened. And the only thing that He did not speak into existence was mankind, when He said, "Let us make man in our own image." And we're the only living creatures that do not obey God like He wants us to. Everything is follows suit, but man is the only one that has a problem trusting and obeying God. So if we just learn how to do that song, trust and obey, no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey.
Thank you. Yeah, praying, singing, great things. And the intergenerational connection is super important because, like, I want to hear from all of you, but we can learn from one another. Other people who want to share. You're all shared out. Like, you already made me talk enough. Okay. Okay, so some tips I put on here. Finding stress management techniques. So you have to find what works for you. I've had people before, they'll say, well, deep breathing doesn't work for me. And I'm like, well, it does, because you're a person. So it does. It will regulate you. But you have to practice it when you're not stressed. You have to work these things into your routine, because otherwise, no, you're going to try deep breathing for 5 seconds. It won't work immediately. You're going to throw it away. So we have to build these routines even when we're doing well, so that they stick when we're not. We need to take care of our physical health. Again, sleeping, eating well, and moving our bodies. Obviously, consult with your doctors, but Tai Chi on Saturdays. It's for all movement levels. And maintaining that healthy support system, whatever that looks like for you. For maintenance, keep going back to what works. So a lot of times when we're depressed, we don't want to do the things. We don't want to get out of bed. We don't want to reach out. We don't want to keep our routine. You need to. That's going to keep you doing okay. Avoid the quick fixes. So a lot of times people turn to alcohol when they are depressed. It is a depressant. So you're going to feel better for a little bit, and then it's going to go right back to where things were, and you might even feel worse. So be careful, be weary of the quick fixes. Sister Walker said, the devil's always out there. He's trying. So he's saying, you'll feel better right now. It's not going to stick. Reach out for help when you're noticing things or when somebody points them out to you. So, yeah, we got busybodies, but genuinely, people want to help you. So if they're seeing symptoms, if they're telling you, hey, I'm concerned, take that seriously. And keep seeing your doctor or therapist even when things are fine. So even if you're like, yeah, I'm doing good, no worries, I don't need to keep that appointment. Keep it. Maybe you can spread things out, but you want to keep that routine so that if something does happen, you already have those supports built in. We'll go through this quickly, but normal aging, we start to just lose capacities as we age. It's super normal. Our brains begin to shrink in the 30s and 40s, so pretty early on, unfortunately. Our frontal lobe and the hippocampus are the first to start shrinking, and those are responsible for an awful lot. So decision making, planning, problem solving, emotional regulation, memories, all of that starts going as early as our 30s. So that's expected. It is frustrating, but it's expected. So as we start noticing that, it can be perfectly normal. We have fewer neural connections, and our thoughts just start to slow as we go because our brain's outer surface is thinning as well. And we have changes that then impact cognitive and emotional functioning. So again, these are things that happen, they're expected. So we shouldn't be too concerned. I think we were quoting this earlier. Outwardly, we are wearing out. Inwardly, we are renewed day by day. So it's a reason to turn to prayer because our bodies, we're human. God knows this. He created us. He knows that we're declining. We can keep turning to Him each day. This did not translate well into the big screen. So we'll make sure everybody gets this. But memory symptoms to notice. Again, some symptoms are normal. People repeating themselves, that's okay, it happens. But we want to be aware once we start to notice more, because maybe it's a medication change, maybe it's something pretty easy we can nip in the bud, but it might be something we need to track. If someone is repeatedly asking the same questions, if somebody is getting lost in somewhere they're familiar, if they're very easily confused about the time or the date, things to be concerned about. If they don't recognize things that they should know, people they should know, places, if they have a hard time following instructions, if they're not able to provide proper self-care. So again, where this is individualized, so we have to look at what's their baseline, what can they usually do. And if they're behaving in ways that are unsafe or uncharacteristic. So some of these things might be a crisis. We might want to seek emergency care if somebody's repeating the date a lot, if they're repeating questions, to make sure it's not a stroke or anything else immediately concerning. But if that gets ruled out, these are things we want to keep track of and just keep noticing. Dementia and Alzheimer's gets interchanged a lot. Dementia is the broader term. That's just a pattern of cognitive changes. So Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. Many cases of dementia do have treatable causes, and they might start earlier in life, so before age 65. So not necessarily something we have to panic about. But symptoms of dementia can include memory loss, loss of language abilities, trouble with problem solving, cognitive decline, and confusion. So again, if we're noticing those symptoms, it might be a form of dementia. So we want to seek help, seek further guidance. Then when we're looking at Alzheimer's, Alzheimer's age is the greatest risk factor because this is not something that's currently treatable. Hopefully one day we will get this figured out, because 1 out of every 3 older adults dies with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. So that is something we're seeing in older adults that is very concerning. And 2/3 who experience Alzheimer's are women, and Black and Latina individuals are twice as likely to experience Alzheimer's. So it's not treatable right now, but we want to be aware of the signs and symptoms so that we can get people the most help, the most appropriate help. A lot of the memory symptoms are similar, but the biggest one is the inability to remember new information. So once we start seeing that, that's a really big warning sign that we need to get more help. I'm not going to read these to you because we'll send out the slides. For time's sake, not going to group discussion. I'll share some tips. So tips for keeping our minds sharp. We want to stay connected and engage in social groups and activities. So everybody that is here, we're at a great start because you all came out to this. But we want to connect with technology. Again, I don't like FaceTime, but lots of people do. So if we want to FaceTime with somebody, it might be more connection than just being on the phone or texting. We want to find ways to volunteer. I think we mentioned that earlier, and just engaging in different programming that's offered. We want to do daily physical activity, consulting first. So easy aerobic exercises like walking, swimming, things that aren't super hard on joints. And then mind-body activities, Tai Chi, yoga, meditation, whatever that looks like that's getting you moving. They have chair yoga, so they have things for all different ability levels. We want to practice gratitude and positive thinking. So a big piece of this might tie into spirituality and thanking God, but also thanking everybody else, being grateful for what we have every day, thinking about what's going well. We want to foster intergenerational connections. So again, our church, we have all ages, which is great because we can all talk to one another, but that can be a challenging spot to make those connections. So be willing to talk to people, be willing to listen to people, and we can learn from one another in that way. Engaging in creative hobbies is really good for your brain because it's just using different pieces than you might use every day. So there's any option there. Some of them dancing, music, creative writing, or just anything artistic gets your brain going differently. And then there's a whole bunch of different apps and games for brain stimulation. I just put a few on here. But if you look up in the App Store, Brain Puzzles gives you those. And also, if you like pen and paper, we've got lots of word puzzles there as well. Then I saw several hands shoot up. So we're going to go here, and then we'll come to the back.
I was just wondering if video games are considered helpful in helping you with your aging and mind.
Well, it depends on the game. I'm a research. Yeah, I'm a researcher, so I'm very suspicious when things will say 100,000 people use it. I'm like, do they? Can you prove that to me? So they can in the way that they are engaging your brain, but we have to be careful about which games we're using and how much, because everything in excess can be not helpful.
Couldn't that seclude you as well?
Yeah, if you're somebody who stays up all night playing video games, I am not. But if you are, that might seclude you. It might take away some of those personal connections with people.
Or being there 7 hours.
I think at any age we can enjoy a good book. I'm reading a book right now. It's called Not Too Old, Turning Your Later Years into Greater Years. And it's by David Faust. David Faust used to be the president of Cincinnati Christian University in Price Hill. I don't know if you know. Of course, that's closed now, but I worked there for 8 years as a professor, and then John worked there 9 years as a professor. And this is his books. He's done several books, but this is so good because it's really kind of kind and gentle, talking about aging and how we can just basically glide into it if we really want to really benefit from it. But it also he really challenges you don't forget about friends, don't forget about a number of things. So it really is a book that's really, really, really nice, and I really have appreciated it. And then also, Ronnie's wife, Angelica, does Tai Chi every Saturday, 10 to 11 o'clock. Ron, not this Saturday because we're going out of town, but it's really, really been beneficial for me to be able to stretch and, think it's really good for my body and my mind. And then what we're going to do also, we're going to have some people do the Flying Pig 5K. And so if you feel like you have some energy and you want to do it, you let me know, because we're going to be out there with our shorts on, and I'm going to be out there telling them how we can get through it, and just really just encouraging people to do it. So we just need to we need to take charge with God as leading us. We need to take charge of our lives and who we are. So that's what I want to encourage you to do.
More shameless plugs here. I'll be participating. We'd love to have people join us.
I'm a computer geek, so I'm into computers. I'm into my third Prius, which has AI and it keeps improving. and I'm a safer driver. When I retired 2010, I got my first one because I realized I'm getting older and I may as well use all the help I can get. My Prius lets me know when my blind spot's covered, which I've almost gotten killed a few times before then. So I appreciate it for that. When I'm backing out of the driveway, I've got it set to warn me 100 feet away, which is like one mailbox away. If there's a car coming down, it tells me. If I start to open my door, it tells me there's a car coming by, watch out. So it's very useful. It's a brain supplement. I also use Gemini AI. It's my brain supplement. It helps me remember stuff. I could remember maybe an event, but I can't remember that book name. And then I describe it and said, oh, here it is. Okay. So it's very good. I use the old ABC thing for remembering names along with talking with people. There's a way to help your memory at church. Start to learn everybody's name in church, and you'll forget them, but you keep associating with them. And like I use the old ABCDEFG, that helps a little bit. Sometimes you don't remember it until 1 o'clock in the morning, but it helps. So those are things I use. So Gemini increases your brain power because it's got a little more brain power from a data collection thing than we can. So it helps me remember stuff I can't. It helps me figure things out. So it can be a very useful thing. And sometimes it gives you links to websites that can help you. So it's another way of getting help. But you just don't talk to Gemini AI all the time.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to make another shameless plug. We had a presentation, I don't know, a couple months ago on AI and religion and navigating all of that. And it is on our Facebook page. So if you need tips for navigating that, I would encourage you to check that out.
I was just getting ready to say how valuable that AI presentation was in health. And I can tell you, since that training, I've been using ChatGPT a lot. And I've been to a doctor, and my doctor's fabulous. And I'm getting healthier because I'm able to ask questions, But in particular, one thing that I've done with ChatGPT is I've been watching all these baking shows, and I said, Chad, I've been watching all these baking shows galore. I want to learn how to do something. So it gave me a whole culinary training for how to bake, and it's over a 10-week period, and it models what's on television, the programs that I watch, like the Holiday Baking Club, or the other one is the Great British Cooking Show, and both of them have different standards. And so ChatGPT made a hybrid standard for me so I could get the creativity and also the pro tips on how to do it. Now, I'm not going to be cooking anytime soon because I can't stand up at the stove yet, but it's given me something to look forward to when I am better. So it's very exciting, but I love that presentation, and that's some of the outcomes from it.
That's awesome. Well, and that's another, cooking engages our mind in so many different ways because it is creative and it's following instructions and it's building a routine there. So that's a great tip as well. Any other tips anyone wants to share before we wrap up? Yeah. Or questions or anything.
I actually go to Eventbrite to find out about free activities going on in Cincinnati. And I go to the public library, who's now offering a program where you can go to the museum for free. And it's for the museum, it's for the zoo, it's over there at the Chrome Conservatory. But it's like a first come, first serve thing. So you kind of look each month to see if you can get in. And it gave me tickets to go to the museum. It was 2 adults and 4 kids. That's the standard. So it's some programs out there that's free, and just finding the right website. But Eventbrite has free programs for exercising. It just asks you generally what kind of information you're searching for. It could be, like I said, exercising, going to a group, and just hanging out with people. So that's something I've learned.
Yeah, that's extremely helpful. And libraries are wonderful resources. They know all the free things. So definitely check those out as well.
This is Stephanie. I just remembered one more thing.
Yeah.
We have a women's empowerment group that meets on Tuesdays, and it's well attended. Maybe 20 people get on and we talk. But when I went to the 80th annual lectureship down in Atlanta like a few weeks ago, they have a national one as well. It's on Thursday night. So I mean to share that with the ladies on Tuesday night. But I'm Trevor Pryor. I'll try to get that information out to whoever. I don't know to whom, but hopefully some ladies might be able to build some new relationships across the country.
That's awesome. And this is the reason we come to events, we go to church, we make these connections, because then we can share even more connections. Right.
Yes. I'm Judith Johnson, and I just want to say that this was very enlightening for me. I had my mother, I cared for her for 7 years with Alzheimer at home. And so that's a very, very serious issue. But another thing I just wanted to say about loneliness, you know, you think of loneliness maybe in seniors or something like that, but that can be in anybody, you know, and loneliness is a very sad and can be a very emotional situation. So loneliness. Thank you.
Right. Because when you're caring for someone, that can be a perfect example. You're with someone, you're not necessarily alone, but it can feel very lonely. So that's why we have to check up on one another and have to keep reaching out. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll wrap up the learning part of lunch and definitely engage with all of our partners here, see how they can get you connected to things. And thank you, everyone, for participating.
Thank you, Dr. Marylise. Let's give her another hand. Was this a great program? Did she have good information for you? You got a college class today for free. Didn't cost you a thing. Didn't cost you a thing other than your time. And we're just so glad that you came out. We have some of our sister congregations here with us. We have many here from Gray Road. We have brother here from Withamsville. And we thank those from our congregation that came out to support this event, and also for those that participated, those that helped us in formulating this event. Dr. Antherica Lane, she was the primary person to put this together for us. So even though she's not here, let's give her a round of applause. We thank you for our AV team, Sister Patty Jasper and Lachelle Emerson. And we thank Sister Lachelle for helping us with the food. Also, Sister Carol, Sister Nicole Hill. And if I'm forgetting you at this time, please forgive me. I am human and I'm old. So, did I say that? And I'm old. I'm repeating myself. Never mind. But we want to thank the 513 Relief Bus. We want to thank the Council on Aging. Yeah, let's give them a round of applause. We want to thank the Hamilton County Job and Family Services. We want to thank Gen Mobile. You see, I see you back there. You coming to visit us, right? All right, we'll be looking for you on Sunday. Bring some phones with you. All right. People working cooperatively, closing the health gap, Humana. All right. UC EIP, Early Intervention Program. All right, Early Intervention Program. All right, with UC. Lighthouse Youth Services as well over here. and for the Talbert House. If you haven't visited these tables yet, please take time. They'll be here until around 2 o'clock. Please make time. You touch each table. They have different things and a lot of information, and that's what we're here for, really, the information. Also, go out. They have screenings on the 513 relief bus as well. Go out and have your blood pressure checked, your vital signs checked. So, and you have Talbert House as well out there. So, thank you once again for coming. You have been a blessing to make this day special, and we just thank you. Take care of your health, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And let's all age together as brothers and sisters gracefully. And if I can ask, Brother JW, would you like to pray us out? I'll bring you a. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. God, we thank you for being such a wonderful, loving God. We thank you for providing this opportunity to learn today. Thank you for working through the facilitators to make it clear, plain, and motivational so that we can have quality lives as retired and older people. Thank you, God, for so many things that you provide for each of us. Help us to take the things that we've learned today. Thank you, God, for Sister Stephanie, who gave us a great outline of what we can do. Let our light shine so you get the glory and the honor. Thank you for our elder brother Ron and brother Bikes that are here today to help make this a great event. Just thank you for our church families. We thank you for being here. Let's have each other's back while we journey toward that heavenly home. We know this earth is not our home. We're just passing through. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And on behalf of the Church of Christ at Kennedy Heights, the eldership, and our senior minister, Brother Greg Gasper, we want to thank you all for coming out and spending your time with us. May God bless each and every one of you.